So we have module number 10 on business presentation, business visualization, data presentation, data visualization, and graphical presentation. So we have a data and how you're going to present that. Okay. So that's the content. It's actually a very easy content only. Chapter number 10, that is module number 10, is quite a direct, easy content only. So we have five subtopics over here. Okay. Dealing with data visualization, both for financial and non-financial data. Why we need to present the data. So objective and function of data presentation. Then probably this might be a new content we might be coming across called as DPA in short, data presentation architecture. Then graphical side, dashboards, graphs, diagrams, tables, report design and all. And we have the tools and techniques for data visualization and graphical representation. So how the data can be presented. So how the data can be presented is usually probably you might be learned in your school days or college days. Descriptive way of presentation is there. So through wordings. Tabulative presentation is there through tabulations in by the way of tables, like how we present a balance sheet in that way of a table, right? Um, we have a visualized presentation called as bar graphs and other diagrams and all. We have graphical presentation in terms of graphs. Okay. So we'll come across this topic. It's quite an easy one. So please join with me. 10.1. Data visualization of both financial and non-financial data. So we here have a picture speaks 1,000 words. If you give something in pictorial form, definitely it will be giving you more details. Even an illiterate in the sense that I'm not talking that who has not gone to a school and all. You may not be having literacy over science knowledge. Okay, as a doctor has. Okay, so illiterate in the sense that I'm not talking that you're not having the knowledge at all. You're not having the expertise knowledge. Okay, even they can understand. So when we talk about data, uh, obtaining data and presenting, yes, not only obtaining data and also presenting, they are equally essential activities. So you obtain the data, we have discussed. Data process gives information, process gives knowledge. When the data is properly scrutinized, and along with that, we have the topic when the data is properly presented, then we shall get relevant information and it will be easy for us to get the knowledge, okay, interpretation. Why we have this data visualization or why it is important? Okay, we have this person, Scott Berinato. He is a specialist from Harvard's Business Review. He wrote in a recent post saying that a talent largely reserved for design and data minded managers. Okay, so when you talk about managers, like we need to know how they are completely utilizing the data. So how they are communicating the significance of the data flood. What do you mean by data flood? We have lot and large amount of data arriving from all different sources. Okay, so when we talk particularly about finance, yes, we can say it's the data hub for majority of the progressive enterprises. So this has been highlighted from this paper presented by David A. J. Axon. He says debt by digital. Finance 2020 debt by digital. So he was doing some analysis like he was using a spreadsheet accounting and all. So how we use Tally and other softwares and other things, SAP and all the same way. When we say finance, yes, definitely you have to analyze it differently. So how far you're going to analyze it, how far you're going to go for decision making and all. Not only to that, in addition to that, we will be using the technology over here. So technique of developing data visualization will help us to identify more patterns and gain deeper insights, particularly when many data sources or interactive elements are interest. So they have an example with respect to KPIs, key performance indicators. How do you do the data? Yes, in the right way. Okay, when we properly execute it, probably we might be simplifying the difficult topics, right? So, what are the things you have to keep in your mind is first try to know for what reason you're going to do this one. Okay, the reason behind it is definitely necessary for what purpose you're going to do this. So, if you know that, definitely your data visualization will be helpful. So, before you go in for developing the images, first try to understand what is the objective. Okay, so that you can establish the proper information from that. So the objective may be sometimes exploratory or declaratory. What do you mean by exploratory? Means sometimes you have to get it from that. Sometimes declaratory, directly seeing the data, it will be available. So depending on that, you have to get the data. Okay. Second, always keep the audience in mind. So when you go for anything which you want to get it, you understand for whom you're doing it, who are the ultimate beneficiaries among from the data, and what type of knowledge you are requested in the expecting in the future. All this has to be taken care of. Okay. And third one, invest in the best technology. Yes, obviously, when I say visualization or whatever it is related to data science, we have to understand what are the technological tools we are going to utilize. Probably in the recent era, in the current era, we have so many tools. Especially, we have machine learning languages, and we have AIs working for us. We have what big data. Covering in the next topic. So we have to look out for tools which will be helping us to take the track the data and dropping into asserts, stats, and graphs, because we have to go for representations. Improve the team's ability. That will be the fourth one you have to keep in your mind. Team ability to visualize the data. See, it's not the data which you are going to just collect it. You have to collect it in such a way so that you are going to visualize in such a way that it's going to be converted in an information which is relevant to you. So you have to understand in such a way that which one has to be given which more priority, what type of data visualization skill is needed, everything has to be taken care of. Okay. The data will be analyzed properly by the finance teams, and they will be working properly with respect to the data visualization team. So there will be two teams working. One is finance team working, and one is the tech team working together. So when they have the coherence in the, that is hybrid knowledge persons are involved, is definitely will have strategic findings, but we will not know how far the tech team will be having the finance knowledge and how far the finance team will be having the tech knowledge. So probably, okay, we have to make a committee or make a team so that both are recruited in such a way. Okay, so that's why we have so many IT companies where some work in hardware and some work in software. Okay. So 10.2, objective and function of data presentation. So only if there is a need and something is going to be helpful, we are going to do it, right? So what's the objective behind what is the function of data presentation? So if here is a basic intro, I'm not going to take you word by word, and probably you can take the help of this para. This will be helpful how the data is going to be presented. Probably the help of dashboards, sometimes graphics, sometimes infographics, sometimes like maps. So you want to locate a place. Probably we just go directly open the map. It's easy for us to locate the places. See, in earlier days and all, when you want to go for a place which is unknown or you have not visited ever, then probably you'll be taking the help of autowalas or any local persons over there to understand the map. But these things are not necessary, right? And we can take the help of charts, even videos and slides and so on things. Okay. So to gain better insights and you can capitalize. Okay. So what are the objectives of data visualization is you can have a better analysis. Okay. So ultimately, when you analyze the data, when you properly process the data, you're going to get the information. So you can go for better analysis. So you can clearly focus what is the intention or on which area you can pay the attention and all regarding the business issues, what you're facing and what is needed. Probably whether you're going to go for a sales report or marketing plan or visual presentation or whatever it is, you can do it in all way. So this first one. Second one, faster decision making is obviously when you go for in the form of instead of tabular forms and reports, when you go for dashboards and other things and all, it will be easy for you to understand what's actually happening, whether there's an increase or whether there's a decrease or whatever it is. Okay. Third one, and it is easy for him to analyze the complicated data also. But only the drawback here is when you talk only about reports, you can able to identify quantifiably. Okay, which body of the ninga normal paniyala. So when it goes for complicated data, it will be helpful to understand what patterns it is being followed and so on. Okay. So the objectives are rather obvious. Probably you're interpreting the data and applying the information for the advantage of the organization. Definitely the value will get increases. What happens if there is no visualization? Okay, then the data scientists who are working on this data, they will not be able to see trends and flaws. They will not be able to understand the pattern. So this is the increase pattern, this is the decrease pattern. They will not be able to understand that pattern. So to effectively explain what the data happening, so how the patterns are being discovered, and to get the vital information, definitely we need to go for data visualization. And when we go for data visualization, it makes the data interactive also. Okay. And in this continuing epidemic, it is both topical and recent that data visualization assistant specialists and remain informed, and you can know what are the data available to, because the data are always voluminous. Okay. Then there comes the first point with respect to how it's been effective with respect to communication to the audience and how it can be properly delivered. And second, it goes with, we are going to deal with large amount of data, and with the help of large amount of data, how can you quickly get all the things happen. And third one, yes, you cannot make decisions in a vacuum, right? So you need to have what is happening. So you cannot make errors, you cannot make faults. So unbiased data should be there to avoid mistakes and loss. So to get the appropriate information, definitely visualization will help to convey what you're going to actually receive. Objectives of data presentation. So first one, decision making. Yes, we have done it. Communication. Yes, we have done it. Influencing. Yes, we can ultimately go take the help of the decision makers where they take the help of the data visualization. Storytelling. Yes, it will be in a narrative form. When you give in forms of pictures and other things and all, it will be say especially the dashboards. See dashboards. So you know what is dashboards, right? Dashboard is something where you can get everything in a single page. That's what I call as dashboard. For example, if you go for a website, you can get all the data in a single website. It will be giving all the data in a single website. That can be a dashboard page. We call that as home page in websites. So, dashboards. நீங்க கார் ஓட்டும்போது பார்த்திருக்கீங்களா? நீங்க எவ்வளவு ஸ்பீட் போறீங்க, எவ்வளவு RPM போறது அது இருக்கும். Probably bike நீங்க ஓட்டிருப்பீங்க, கட்டாயமா பார்த்திருப்பீங்க. What's the petrol level, what's the speed and other things and all you can follow with it. Okay. And clarity and completeness. You'll get more concise picture. Okay. It will be visually appealing, and you'll get more confidence about the data, how you can properly utilize it. That's about 10.3 data presentation architecture. So probably here we have to go for definitions and all. So this one para is quite an important para, because it's actually going to define what you mean by data presentation architecture. So it's nothing but set of skills. Okay. What is the aim behind this is to identify, find, in case if needed, modify. Yes, that's what you call as data scrutiny and all. So you collect the raw data. It might not be needed as of what you collected. Sometimes you have to modify in such a way that will be helpful for you. So modify, you format it and present the data. So in a manner that will ideally convey meaning and words. That's what you call as data presentation architecture, or called as DPA in short. Okay. So here is the definition. So this is the colloquial understanding definition, and here is an expert called named Kelly Lott. He's giving the definition as is a rarely applied skill set critical to the success and value of the business intelligence. So he's trying to apply this in BI, business intelligence. Okay. So you know AI. So the same way we have business intelligence. Business intelligence dealing with related to direct business decision making. When you talk about this DPA, probably you can mix this with numbers, you can mix this with data. So that's what gets the size of numbers, data, statistics, so that you discover valuable information from data and make it usable, relevant, and action with the arts of data, visualization, communication, organization psychology, and change management in order to provide business intelligence solution with the data scope, delivery timing, format, visualization that will have most effectively supporting and drive operational, not only that, tactical and strategic behavior, how you can understand the business, and so on. Okay, so this seems to be a lengthy definition, like, but I request you to please highlight this one. So there is one dilemma, like whether it's an IT or business skill. So you cannot say the DPA is an IT or business skill set. Is actually you should not confuse with data visualization and architecture. So it's a much broader skill set where you need to determine on what schedule and in what exact format it has to be presented, not just the way you're going to present it. Okay. ஒரு டேபிள்ல போடலாம் அப்படிங்கிறது இல்லை. அந்த டேபிள்ல எப்படி போட்டாலும் கரெக்டா இருக்கும் அப்படின்னு யோசிக்கிறது. Okay. So data visualization skills are one element of DPA. So when we talk about data visualization, it's one element of DPA. Okay. So we'll go for the objectives. So you can utilize the data to gather information in a more efficient method, feasible method, which means provide pertinent, timely, and comprehensive data. You can utilize the data to deliver information as effectively as feasible also. Probably when you capture a video, you might be having so much of distracted noises and you try to minimize that. There may be some complexity, you have to minimize the complexity. There may be some data which are not needed, and sometimes based on the demands and tasks, you need some detailing. So that's about the two objectives we follow in DPA. So what is the scope of, that is how we are going to utilize that DPA, scope of DPA. You define the significant meaning, you obtain the proper data. Probably you might be focusing on particular area or historical reach or how extensive or how in-depth analysis should be done in the data and level of detailing all will be considered. Determine the needed frequency, like how far it is, how many data, that is frequencies, how frequent the data should be collected and needed. Then you go for the optimal presentation moment. Okay, how the presentation has to be done so that the decision makers will be taking help of the data, so the users will be understanding the data. Then you can use suitable analysis. You can go for categorization, visualization, and other display styles also. And you develop delivery techniques for, because each and every audience, depending on the job, depending on the duties, depending on the location, depending on the technological assets, they'll be having different experience and different knowledge and understand data. So you do in that way. Okay. So what are the steps involved here is you identify the requirements. Okay, I'm not going word by word. You can please join here. Then you collect the data and process the data. Then you choose what type of visualization technique you're going to apply, whether it's charts or graphs or whatever it is. Then you select the tools and platforms. Then you create the architecture, which means actually you're developing the framework over here. Then you implement and test it, and you optimize it and maintain it. So these are the 7 steps involved in DBA. Okay. 10.4. Regarding the tools we are going to use it. The dashboards, the graphs, or the diagrams, or the tables, or what we are going to present the report. So when we say data visualization is again a colloquial definition we are using for data visualization. So visual depiction. Depiction is presentation of data, and not only data, please try to understand, we are talking about the information. through the use of through the use of these visual elements, like all these, definitely it will be help us to identify and comprehend what is the trends, outliers, and patterns. Already we have done with that. So let me go directly for dashboard. So let me go for this picture given. So this is what you call as dashboard. If you go for traveler spend analysis, okay, so you get everything as a single page. Okay, you get everything as a single page. Okay. So what do you mean by dashboard is all the thing, what are the data you wanted will be covered in a way so that it is making as an interactive dashboard. What do you mean by interactive dashboard is if you make a small change, that change is presented in that main page. Okay, so the important metrics, probably you're driving a car or riding a bicycle or two-wheeler or something like that. When you increase the speed, yes, it comes over there. Okay, when you drive a car and if you are not wearing the seat belt, if you are not tightening your seat belt, then definitely the dashboard says gives a beep sound. You are not you have not tightened the seat belt. Okay. So what are the different metrics we have? Everything will be presented, and this is why we call as the interactive dashboard. Okay. So it's actually interacting with this. So the data points will be visualized and the reports will be generated for the customers that will summarize the report. So when you go for creating reports for your audience, definitely it's going to have a strong working relationship with them. And definitely the audience will be able to view the performance all at a glance. Okay, in addition to that, when you talk about a single dashboard, it will help us to maintain what a company is doing, why, and what type of client relationship they are maintaining, and how it's been helpful for decision making. And we have numerous level of dashboards, but depending on the metrics level and depending on what are the things they do inside an organization, everything can be covered. So it must be automatically and routinely updated. Probably we need to know the present condition, right? So it should be automatically and routinely updated. Okay. Next, we'll go for graphs, diagrams, and chart. Yes, this is the one we might have done in statistics, bar chart, bar diagrams, etc. So bar chart is something like we have where the data will be given. See, this data seems to be very vague, like okay. But instead of doing this, if you draw this in bars, yes, you can easily understand this is the year where the economic valuation is more. Okay, 6,000 plus. See, for the year 2019, 20. So this is the year it's more. Where it is very less, probably this year it is very less. 2012 and 13 is very less. So this is for economic valuation for Hindustan Lever Limited. So instead of giving this data which is having tables, so table is also one way of presentation. Comparing with the descriptive way of presenting, tabulation will be helpful, but at the same time, instead of tabulating, if you go for this type of diagrammatic representation, it will be more helpful. Okay. Then we have line charts. Instead of tabulating, instead of drawing bars, we'll just represent with the help of lines. So I'm not going line by line. Okay. So this is for share price of HUL Limited. Okay. Then we have pie charts. So it's a circular graphical representation where each slice will represent a proportionate value. Here we'll convert everything in terms of degrees. Okay, so totally we have 360 degrees for a cycle, and each and every component will be taken with respect to degrees. Okay, and you can present this in percentage also. Usually for marking this pi, so we say from here to here. Okay, so here is the point. Okay, so from here to here. So this is the pi. What is the angle over here? So the value will be converted into degrees over here. Okay, so that degrees, or it can be presented in terms of percentage also. Okay. Usually when you measure this area, you have to present this in degree. Okay. Then map is obviously how we are going to geocode. So we know that when we go for Google Maps, a very good example. Okay, now we have Google Map is not India's. We have Mapples like map please, map please. பார்த்திருக்கீங்களா அந்த வெப்சைட் இந்த இது ஆப் யூஸ் பண்ணிருக்கீங்களா? நீங்க இந்தியன் ரோட்ஸ்ல எங்கேயாவது வந்து டிரைவ் பண்ணிட்டு போறீங்க. எங்கெல்லாம் ஸ்பீட் பிரேக்கர் இப்பெல்லாம் ஸ்பீட் பிரேக்கர்ஸ் கொஞ்சம் ரிமூவ் பண்ணிட்டாங்க. There is a big controversy. Like how can you have speed breakers in the highways? Okay, so instead of speed breakers, you'll have barricades. Okay, you'll have barricades. So the barricades will be placed like this. You have to go this way and like that. Okay. But earlier to barricades, they had speed breakers here. ஓகே இந்த ஸ்பீட் பிரேக்கர் வந்து போகும்போது நீங்க கொஞ்சம் ஸ்லோ பண்ணிட்டு போவீங்க இல்லையா நீங்க மேப்ஸ் யூஸ் பண்ணிருக்கீங்க இல்லைன்னா பண்ணி பாருங்க மேப் ப்ளீஸ் ஸோ யூஸ்வலி call that as mapples. Okay, map please. So if you try this one, you can find that when you drive in any places where there's a speed breaker, it will say that there's a speed breaker. Okay, there will be some indication showing that there is a speed breaker. Okay. Automobile accidents probably referred with respect to postal codes, custom sales area, etc. So these and all can be referred with the help of maps. Okay. So this is about maps. This density map, probably they want to give some relevant relative measures where you want to compare and you want to say, for example, density map, we can take the help of the cyclone maps. See, during the cyclone, they will go for red markings, yellow markings, and orange markings, saying that it is a red alert, etc., right, depending on the density. So here the diagrams with respect to, see, the example they have given, cyclone hazard. So where the cyclone will be more prone, and this is with respect to coastal areas. So we have these three seas, right? Arabian, Indian, and Bay of Bengal. Okay, where how can it be affecting the three the coastal areas? Okay, இங்கெல்லாம் வந்து நம்ம coastal areas சொல்ல மாட்டோம். ஸோ இங்க வரைக்கும் தான் நம்ம சொல்லுவோம் இல்லையா? ஸோ இங்க வரைக்கும் எப்படி affect ஆகும்னு சொல்லிட்டு diagram போடுறோம். So that's about density. So density is how far it is intense in those areas. Yes, we can also take the help of scatter plots where we'll be examining many variables and we'll be trying to highlight how it is being predicted on a single graph. Okay, that's about scatter plots. See, all these will be scattered. The scattered means we'll draw like points, like we make as coordinates. So we'll make the coordinates and we'll try to understand how the values or how the points marked here over here is being associated or how it's being correlated. That's what I call as scatter. Okay. Then Gantt chart, probably you might have done this in OM, the same content here, Gantt chart. So probably you will find that there is one activity going from here. Simultaneously, there is another activity started from here until here. After this first activity ends, then this two activities will be beginning. Then it will go till here. After these three activities ends only, we can go for next activity. So this is the Gantt chart. What is the usage of Gantt chart is? Yeah, this is the highlighter. See, if you go for any tool which data or the chart has to be used, you cannot be using a normal chart. See, if, understanding this one, probably if you mark this as activity A, this is B, this is C, this is D, this is E. Okay, what happens here is only A is completed, then C could be started, B, C, and D is completed, then E could be started, and so on. So, depending on seeing this chart, it is very easy for you to understand which activity will be following and continue with which activity. Okay, so this will be helpful. Then yes, bubble chart is one highlight where instead of drawing like different pictures, we'll go for drawing bubbles, which means in the 3D picture it will look like bubbles. If you go for a 2D picture, it will look like different circles are drawn here. Okay, so different circles will be drawn, and if you see this big circle, how many computer scientists are here? How many IT persons working in India? this circle, how many mathematicians are there? This circle, how many engineers are there? This circle, how many writers are here? Okay, so this is how the each and every bubble will be uh, telling the data about the different characteristics or different areas. Okay, yes, histogram. Probably bar diagram and histogram, the only difference is here when we go for histograms, here we'll be having continuous bars. See, there is no gap. And moreover, the data what you present here in the horizontal axis will be numbers. So that's why we call histogram is drawn for quantitative data. Okay, you can please make a note of it. It is drawn for quantitative data, not for qualitative data. Bar diagram and histogram, ஒரே difference இதுதான் கொஞ்சம் note பண்ணிக்கோங்க, only for numbers, quantitative data only. So if you check for the age 5, 10, 15, so we are drawing for the numbers. Okay, then tables. Shall I take over? We'll go for tables. Tables, often known as the other name for tables is crosstabs or matrices. Why we call this as matrices? We are going for particular arrangement. That's why we call this as matrices. So like aesthetic formatting. So we'll go for particular, we engage with particular formats. That's why we call this as, okay. Actually, we cannot say this is particularly like we are getting a visualization, but when we go for reading the numbers, visual features may be added to the tables also probably. Once you get the tables, then the next step only will go for graphical presentation block because tables will give each and everything in values. Whereas if you go for data presentation, probably depending on the height of the bars, you can say this is the tallest bar, so this has been more economic value addition in this year, you can say. But the exact value with the help of tables only you can do it. Okay, so that's about this one. So how you use the table? So to draw graphs, and you need to have tables. There is proper arrangements. So usually when we go for graphs, right, we take x-axis as a row. So here row is the table row. Okay, so this is the row wise. Okay, one, two, three rows like column one, two, three columns, so on. Okay, and along the x-axis will take the rows, and y-axis will depict the values within each metric what you have to consider. So tables may arrange quantitative data, and then they can show the linkages, how far they are connected. That also can be done. Okay. So I'm not going line by line, you can just have a look. This just giving more detail about table only. So here is a big table. You can include visualization in the table also. So you give the name here, that is a city name, which country, and what are the other data needed. Along with that, you do some visualization also. That can also be can be done. Okay, see, we do the visualizations here. That can also be done in a single. We have this spreadsheets and all, right. With the help of that, we can do it. How you are going to design the report using data visualization? So once you go for design the report, what you have to anticipate is how you're going to actually read it, how the what way you have to understand it. Okay, so how to use data in the visualization? Probably it's here we have the list. You find the story in the data. So we call this as data driven story. Data driven story. So once you tell the story means nothing for for what purpose you're going to analyze this one. So என்ன பர்பஸ்க்காக யூஸ் பண்ண போறீங்கன்னு தெரிஞ்சா மட்டும் தானே என்ன பர்பஸ் நீங்க பண்ண முடியும். Okay, so you go for identifying how you can arrange it. Probably sometimes you may not be having all the numbers, missing numbers. You check for the outliers, everything you do it. Then you create a narrative. Because we are using the word story, we are telling here as narrative. So you give a catchy title for the table, subheadings, and what are the important context you have to include in the data. You create a consistent and logical flow of the data, and significant discoveries also if needed. Then go for most suitable data visualization. What designs or what principles you're going to use it. What are the features you need in that? Okay. So probably if you're not going to draw about a pie chart, what are the different slices? Probably sometimes we'll be taking about sales, advertisement, profit, cost angle, and so many things. Probably you want to define cost sheet. Okay. So you want to classify with respect to factory cost, admin cost, and cost of sales, etc. So you can everything can represent in forms of pies. Okay, pies. So that's why we call this as pie chart. Then follow the visual language. What are the consumption, internal, external consumption, how the guide has to be, how the style has to be. Then you publish the results. Okay, so you just post it in the media. So that's about 10.5 tools and techniques of visualization and graphical presentation. So what are the tools and techniques you are going to take help of presenting and visualization of data? First one, tabulate. Tabulate is what you call as the table format, but we are taking the help of technology over here. It's a data visualization app. It's an application. where you can create interactive graphs, charts, and maps. So it will be connecting the data sources. So you may be having the data from different sources, right? And you can generate the visualization in minutes. So when you talk about this tablet desktop, is the first product of its kind. It is designed to produce static visualization that may be published on one or more web pages. Okay. The only thing is it cannot produce interactive maps. Okay. It's a free version where you can get some with some restrictions, like some subscriptions maybe they're available. Only thing is it's actually we have so many tools here to understand this in a better way. You have it will take some time and effort, but definitely is a very important and most useful tool also. Okay, so we have this tablet, so this for understanding only you don't have the practical side. And probably you might be aware of this Microsoft Power BI. So it's also a tool for business intelligence data, for reporting, self-service analytics, for predictive analysis, for everything. We can take the help of BI, business intelligence, for completely for business related. So it's providing a platform for the end users. You can generate reports, share insights with other inside their business, and it serves as a centralized repository where you can have all the data in one place. Okay, so all the business users can access it. Probably you have some linkages, you have some prepared reports where you can use it inside the organization, and it's a critical tool for businesses seeking a consolidated data reporting system. So this is about the Microsoft BI. Yes, we know about Microsoft Excel. So we have like we can take the help of drawing scatter diagrams, bar charts, histogram, pie chart, everything you can do it with the help of all the data you feed in the Excel sheet, and you just go click for creating this graphs and all. You can easily do it. Okay. So we have so many techniques with the help of MS Excel. You can examine statistical, scientific, medical, and economic data for market research, financial planning, and other different applications. Okay. So we have Excel here. And this one new concept we have ClickView. Okay, ClickView is actually data discovery platform. You can please make a note of this one. You can find different types of data. So you want to get some informed choices. Okay, so you can make quicker, probably you know this online platforms, right? Now what you do is like you want to go for purchasing anything. So I'm dealing with a laptop. I want to purchase a laptop. I want to know I want to know the features like how much capacity the hard disk capacity needs. So probably I might be planning for 1 TB or more than that. So obviously I go for filtering. So that's a filter option. So you may be it may be helpful for you go to making quicker and informed choices will be there. Speedy analytics will be there where you can get new business insights also. So this is one form of ClickView. It's actually a software development kit where most of the enterprises are using it, and they take different data sources with color coded tables, bar graphs, line graphs, pie charts, and sliders, and you do everything. You can just do it by easily dragging and dropping. Okay, so this is about the visualization enterprise. You need not write the code and all. So coding is not involved over here. We are completely dealing with the simple work only. So it is actually easy to learn and understand the instrument also. This is about click. So you can please understand it's not click. Okay, the spelling is not click. It is click. Okay, so this click. Okay, okay. So that's about 10.5 done now. So I think completely 10th unit is done. Yes, can you please go through?